One, two. Holy smokes, folks. We are live. We are live. We are live. It's a horrible, horrible third time's the charm. Oh my goodness. I don't know what this is going to be, folks. But here we are going live. Heart of a Lions fan podcast, Dallas Cowboys preview. It's a beautiful Tuesday night, 2 days away from the game. I have no idea who's even going to be on the field for our Detroit Lions. Don't even know who's going to be on the field for the Dallas Cowboys, but I do know that this game matters a whole lot. So playoff implications abound. But here's my topics for tonight. The offensive line for the Detroit Lions, or the offensive lines just in general. We'll look at some other offensive lines, specifically the Chicago Bears offensive line. We're also going to look at a pick that the Detroit Lions could have made to improve their offensive line, but instead decided to trade up to take Isaac, 3-touchdown Tesla. Talking about Hutch and the way Hutch looked in the last game a little bit more, and talking about Hutch, just how we think he's going to perform the rest of this year, and is there something wrong with Hutch? Brad's ego and the failure in the draft. We're going to touch on that when we do look at that New England Patriots roster. I think we have to talk about Dan Marinelli Campbell. Dan, it's hard to say. I'm gonna have to come up with a different nickname, but Dan Marinelli Campbell. Holy smokes, folks! This dude can't help himself, man. He starting to sound like Rod Marinelli with his pickaxe and his repetition of clean it up and we will, blah, blah, blah. You can only say things so many times before we just start to call BS on you. And I think we're at that point. I'm going to give my prediction against Dallas, and here we are live on YouTube, and we're going to go live here on Facebook for your opportunity to call me an idiot. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and go live here. Why not? 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Going live on Facebook here, live on YouTube. Mike Vanderpool, Heart of a Lions fan, the podcast coming at you live to talk about all things Lions. Not all things Lions. There's much better people out there to do that for you. But we're going to talk about the offensive line. We're going to talk about Hutch. We're going to talk about Dan Campbell. We're going to talk about Brad Holmes. And we're going to talk about our Dallas prediction here. So Dallas, Thursday night, huge game, massive playoff implications. It's a must-win game for the Detroit Lions. If the Detroit Lions lose to Dallas, I'm not going to say we're out of it, because mathematically we won't be out of it. But man, my hope is going to be gone. I'll be de-freaking-flated. I mean, there's only so much we can take, right? There's only so much we're going to clean it up we can take before we realize that you're not able to clean it up. So Shep is talking about making moves, flipping some things up. We got Terrion out. We got Kirby in a whatever it is, bionic freaking leg thing going on. Offense is going to be missing Amon-Ra. I got no clue, folks. But I'm going to start off here. I have been up and down, left and right on the Facebook here these past couple days. And what I'm hearing more than anything is how awesome Ben Johnson is. And Ben Johnson was the offense, and Ben Johnson this and Ben Johnson that. And y'all know how I feel about Ben Too Cute Johnson. Ben Johnson is the reason that we lost to the San Francisco 49ers. He put the ball in the hands of a rookie when he had David Montgomery. Should have been running the ball in the third quarter in order for us to salt it away. Yes, Dan Campbell is to blame as well for not kicking field goals, just like he's to blame for not kicking field goals and us losing here. Dan Campbell can't learn. We'll talk about it a little bit later on. But folks, why is the freaking Chicago Bears all of a sudden, why is Caleb Williams doing well? Why are the Chicago Bears 9-3? Okay, new coach, great, but that's not why. I listened to Colin Cowherd talk about how Caleb Williams is all of a sudden this and that, and Ben Johnson this. Folks, can I show you why the freaking Chicago Bears are better this year? I mean, this is it, dude. The Chicago Bears made 2 significant trades. They got Joe Thuney, whatever his name is, Thuney, I don't know how to pronounce it, and Jonah Jackson. Guess where Jonah Jackson used to play in 2020? The Detroit Lions. This offensive line right here, this is why the Bears are doing well and why the Lions are doing bad. Has about 5% to do with Ben Johnson, but 95% to do with the offensive line. Offensive line is why our fourth down plays aren't working. Offensive line is why we are not setting the tone as an offense. Offensive line is why we're not able to protect Jared Goff long enough for him to throw the ball downfield. So before you all get it twisted, Colin Cowherd, everybody else out there in the comments coming at me about Ben Johnson this, Chicago Bear fans, Ben Johnson that. The reality is it's the offensive line. It is the trade for Jonah Jackson as their right guard, and then their left guard, Joe Thuney. They are protecting. They've got good players in the middle, and there you go. Good players in the middle. Where's our offensive line suck? In the middle. Why did not Brad Campbell go ahead and make a move for Joe? Right? I mean, left guard, who's our left guard right now? Don't ask, right? Don't ask. Now, let's take a look at this. We're going to stay here, right? Because I'm going to talk a little bit about Brad Holmes here, and his failure here is even worse when you look at the offensive line for the other number 1 seed over on the Patriots. The New England Patriots, we won't subscribe to them ever, have a player at left guard. Oh, imagine that. Left guard. Jared Wilson, a freaking rookie who was drafted later in the 3rd round than Isaac TeSlaa. Isaac TeSlaa, we trade picks, we move up, and we take Isaac TeSlaa when this guy was available. Jared Wilson is starting for the first place, number 1 seed New England Patriots at a position where we are deficient beyond belief. Brad Holmes had the opportunity twice with Wilson and freaking Thuney to fix this left guard position. And now, yes, we had Mahogany, Manu, Frazier. I think he thought we were okay. But the Thuney thing, okay, I get it. We can excuse that. But this is the one I can't excuse. I cannot excuse the fact that we took a luxury pick on Isaac TeSlaa, who we probably could have gotten later. And if we didn't, who cares? No offense. And we could have had this dude. Brad Holmes has failed us. Dan Campbell has failed us. The biggest problem for both of them is the same thing, their ego. They think they're the smartest people in the room. Don't ask me how I know. They think they're the smartest people in the room, and they're continuing to repeat the same mistakes over and over and over. How many players do we have hurt right now? Let's not even get into that. Okay, let's clarify here. And I'm a little all over the place. I'm a little excited. I understand it as clearly as possible. Ben Johnson is a good coach. But the reason the Chicago Bears are performing well and the Detroit Lions are not is because of decisions made around the offensive line. Coaching matters, but your players matter more. And your offensive line matters the most. If our offense was performing better, we would have more ball control, better field position, play with a lead. Your defense gets better when you've got a great offense. I will say this again and again, the best defense is a great offense. And right now, because of the decisions to improve their offensive line, Chicago's a great offense with a good offensive coordinator. Detroit is a horrible offense. I can't say horrible. We're not that bad. Detroit's offense is underperforming because we have deficiencies at the offensive line and we don't have an offensive coordinator. All right. What else do you guys want to talk about? The prediction here for Dallas, I think that's kind of the most important thing. It's a must-win game for us. You know, playoff standings, all that happy crap. Let's take a look here. NFL playoff picture. Boom, shalak, lock, boom. Let's go ahead and take a look for our NFC. I do believe we're probably in a little bit of trouble here, but I think we might be okay, right? Or have the option to be okay. We're on the outside looking in. But a loss to Dallas puts us in a really, really, really bad position. I don't know what's going to happen here with, you know, the Packers and Chicago Bears. Even if they were to flip-flop, they're still ahead of us. You know, they split wins and losses. They're still going to be ahead of us. I'm not even going to think too hard about all this playoff nonsense stuff simply because we've got to win. If we don't win against Dallas, none of this conversation actually matters. So versus Dallas, what do I think is going to happen? Holy smokes, folks. Like, they're asking Dan Campbell about running up the score last week and if he thinks last year, and if he thinks it's going to impact this year. I do think that teams care and have egos and feelings and running up the score on a team or smacking a team around like we did last year does feed them for this year. Dak is balling out. Um, their receivers scare me to freaking death, especially with Kirby with his knee brace on, who's I don't think going to play. Terrion being out now, not being able to apply any pressure. I don't think that changes, even if we do switch some things up. They say we're going to be able to run the ball against Dallas, but we should have been able to run the ball against Philadelphia, and we should have been able to run the ball against the Giants. But Dan Campbell refuses to run the ball, and even when he does run the ball, he puts it in the wrong hands, calls the wrong plays. I don't see that getting any better. Now, home field advantage, does that matter for us? Maybe. I mean, is it going to be a shootout? Maybe. I don't know. Is Dallas going to be able to put pressure on Jared Goff? I don't know. Go watch somebody that actually like freaking knows what they're talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just an opinion guy. I don't do research beyond what I've already done here. There's my kid walking through the back. What's up, kid? She doesn't care about any of this football stuff. Now, my son, though, my son does. You don't care about football. My son does. I took him to the Green Bay game and broke my heart because he's never been to a regular season game. What are you doing, dude?
What is my hoodie, bro?
Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Love you, kid. There we go. See, raising them right. Heart of a Lions fan here. Raising them right. But I took my son to the Green Bay game, and it was the first game that the Lions have ever lost with him in the stands. Regular season game. He did lose I was there for a preseason loss, but he looks at me and says, "Dad, I guess I'm not the good luck charm anymore." Broke my freaking heart, Lions, but that's okay. I think though they're going to restore the roar. I do. I'm an eternal optimist, right? I picked the Lions almost every single game this season. Probably my own fault for setting myself for disappointment. But we're looking at the Detroit Lions with a little bit more rest. And we'll talk about Hutch after this. A little bit more rest, a little bit more fire, a little bit more of their back against the wall. I think the Detroit Lions are going to come out on top. I think we're actually going to win by 10. We're going to win 37-27. I know it's kind of an odd score, but 37-27. And I think Dan Campbell's going to finally kick a field goal. Maybe punt at least once. Hopefully not at all. All right. So 37-27, picking the Detroit Lions. I do want to talk about Hutch a little bit. So Hutch is gassed. That's the issue. Hutch is a great player. Hutch is going to be fine. Hutch is gassed. If you watch him play, go back and rewatch the last game, and it was on a 4-day week or 3 days off, whatever it was. The second play of the game, his hand is on his hip and he's breathing heavy. We have to remember Hutch missed almost a full year, right? 9 months of football, 9 months of conditioning. Even though he was rehabbing his leg, that's not the same as like conditioning yourself for long-term stamina, especially in the environment of a football game. And I think that's where, if we look at that Green Bay game, we lost that game the game before. We lost the Green Bay game because we weren't able to get rest for our players, where Green Bay was able to get rest for their players. Hutch will be fine. The defensive line, hopefully this is the wake-up call for Brad Holmes to get out of his own way and make some moves, position himself well in the draft, to pick up some defensive line help. I don't care who's in the backfield on either side of the ball. If you don't have an offensive line, you're not going to perform well, or a defensive line, you're not going to perform well. So for everybody that's concerned about Hutch or talking smack about Hutch, I truthfully think he's going to be okay. All right. So, I don't know if there's anything else. This is probably the worst freaking podcast I've ever done. Getting it set up was a pain in the rear. I don't like doing it in my room here like this. I don't think this works well. It's not a good vibe, not good energy. Might have to redo this. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Anyway, what else is there to talk about? I don't know. Talked about Hutch. Talked about Dallas. Dallas could score 100 and we could score 101. That may be what it is. We talked about why I think Brad Holmes kind of failed us a little bit in the draft by going and picking Tesla instead of this Jared Wilson. It's helping the Patriots to a first seed, number one seed, and first round bye. And then we talked about Ben Johnson being overrated. The media does it. Everybody does it. The quarterback is the sexy pick. This quarterback is the sexy one to talk about. The offensive coordinator as an offensive genius head coach, that's the sexy thing to talk about. But at the end of the day, it's the offensive line. And we had an opportunity to improve the left guard position, both in free agency and in the draft, and we did not do that. So that's all I got, folks. I do appreciate you checking out. Thank you for checking out the live on the Facebook. Thank you for checking out the live on the YouTube. I'm going to keep making more great content, and I promise the next one will be better than this one. So, all right, y'all, be good to each other. Peace, and let's go Lions. Holy smokes, Facebook, folks.